there, quilting friends, it's Carolina Moore, your favorite sewing and quilting YouTuber, and today we're working on block 7 of the 4-patch block of the month. If you are new around here, go down to that description. I have all the links, all the information that you need, and there's also a comment section where you can ask questions. So feel free to use those, and for the rest of us, let's get started. Okay friends, as usual, I have all my pieces cut out already, and we have our rectangles, our big squares, and our little squares. So our big squares we have in both the background and the blue, and the little squares are just blue, and those rectangles are just background. So we're gonna take our big background squares, and we're turning these into half square triangles. Just like last month, I went over to my machine to see if I could use my magical seam tape, my diagonal seam tape. It really is magical seam tape, but it's called diagonal seam tape, to see if I could use this. But again, this square is longer than the runway on my sewing machine. If you have an extension table, you may want to use the diagonal seam tape. Just a heads up, you'll want to line it up with the black line and not the red line when you use this diagonal seam tape. And I've got instructions in this video right here. So since I can't use my diagonal seam tape, I'm going to draw lines, and I'm actually using this little ruler right here. If you don't have one of these, go down to the links down below in the description, and I will link to this magical little ruler. It is probably the least expensive ruler that Creative Grids makes, and I can mark a line on one side and on the other side. So those are my 1/4 inch sewing lines, and then I can mark down the middle, which is my cut line, that dash. Now I'm doing this with a mechanical pencil. This one has green lead in it, so it's easier for me to see. If I were to do this on a dark fabric, I would do it with white lead. And if you don't have a colored mechanical pencil, you can grab a regular mechanical pencil and that'll work great. But because of the depth of the ruler, trying to use something like a friction pen down the middle, it won't reach all the way down there. So you want to use a mechanical pencil when you use one of these little rulers. So we're going to mark this on the back of all 4 of these. And this is different than, so traditionally you might have been taught to draw a line down the middle and then stitch a 1/4 inch on either side, which is basically what we're doing. We're doing our dashed line down the middle, like this. And then we're drawing our stitch line on either side, and that's just going to make that stitch line more accurate. So we're not eyeballing how far a 1/4 inch is away from our center line. And as usual, I do like to mark at least twice, and that just gives me a darker line that's a little easier to see. Okay, so I have all of these lines drawn on, and I can grab my dark pieces and stitch on my dark pieces. Okay friends, looks like I cut more than needed in the instructions. I cut 4 of these background pieces, so you only need 2. I'm going to take these other 2 and I'm going to set them aside for a different project. But you only need 2 of these background pieces, just like you have 2 of these squares. And again, I'm just going to switch out this presser foot. There we go. And stitch on the line on either side. right, there we go. Now you can use your rotary cutter and ruler to cut these apart, but I'm just going to use a pair of fabric shears and just snip these apart real quick before we press them. We are going to be pressing these towards the dark. And now before stitching these to anything else, I'm going to just cut off these dog ears. They're going to add extra bulk in the project, and we don't like extra bulk in our projects. They can also kind of get in the way when sewing. We don't like things getting in the way. So we're just going to trim those away. There we go. Okay, now we get to lay out our 4-patch units. So we have our background, our square, and our little flag right there. There we go. So that is our 4-patch unit. We're going to stitch these two together. So I'm going to turn this just to make it easier for me. We're stitching these two sets together, and then we'll be stitching those to that. I can swap out. I can swap out my foot for my 1/4 inch presser foot here to keep my 1/4 inch seam allowance nice and clean. Get that thread out of the way. And then putting these right sides together, we're going to stitch our 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so we're going to take these and press them all towards our blue square. There we go. stitch these together. I don't know if you can hear, I've got some neighbors who are doing some yard work. It's almost like there's a competing sewing machine next door. But I'm pretty sure it's a weed trimmer. Might be a chainsaw. Definitely not a sewing machine. Okay, we can press all these towards the background, and those are our 4-patch units. So now we're going to lay out our block so we can see all 4 pieces. We can put these right sides together to stitch each of our rows, and then we can stitch our rows together to make our quilt block. Okay, that's looking good. I'm going to press towards the larger strip. Oops. There we go. There we go. And now I can stitch these rows together. Time to spin our seams this direction, which means this is going to pop open perfect, just like that. There we go. Give it a good press from the front. So there we go. We have our finished block for the month of July. Friends, it has been so fun stitching this up with you. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Just hit that subscribe button, and then if you hit the bell, you'll know every time I have a new video up. If you have any questions or comments, leave those below. Let me know how this project's been going for you. Have you been making the blocks? How do they look? Do you have any questions? Leave those down below. If you are new, everything you need is in that description box. So make sure that you check that description box for all the links for anything in this video, and give this video a thumbs up so people know that you enjoyed it and that they might enjoy it as well. Friends, that's all I have for you today, but I will see you right here real soon. Bye for now.